this is really a round table, so we wanted to kind of make this presentation, do short presentations, just to open up the themes and the stories, but really to kind of hand the remainder of time over to discussions. We do have a semi-seminar-like setting here, so I think this can happen. Just very quickly, one of the reasons, maybe the main reason why we're here is because of Canada's involvement in the mining industry in Latin America. As many of you will know, it's an important involvement. At McGill, we're doing a research project on that involvement. We're now looking at about 1,000 different projects across the continent. So in some ways, measured in number of communities impacted in the thousands, the amount of money involved, millions of dollars. Mining provides one of the main conduits that connects Canada with Latin America. And that connection is not always an easy connection. I think we're going to find out more about that in a moment. So we're going to hand this over to our three speakers. Someone from Guatemala, Yuri Melini, will explain a bit his perspectives on the involvement of the Canadian mining industry in his country and his own activities in that respect. We have Catherine Coumans, who works with Mining Watch Canada. For those of you who don't know about this organization, it's an NGO formed in the mid-1990s to start to take account of the rapid expansion of the mining industry within Canada and of the Canadian mining industry across the world. Catherine is the lead researcher and research coordinator for Mining Watch. But I think more importantly, she's actually been following this story from the government side, or on the political side, rather, since early on. She's been involved in the roundtables that the government formed to start to address some of the problems associated with the extractive industry and its overseas operations. So I'm very happy to have you here as well. And to take us through some of the legal dimensions of this issue is Catherine Duhamel. Catherine Duhamel is a practicing lawyer here in Montreal. She was director excuse me, of the International Legal Resources Center, which specializes in human rights work and international human rights work, and also works to provide legal expertise and legal resources to communities and organizations dealing with issues involved with international human rights issues or problems. Okay. So I won't say anything more about that. Mr. Melini will take us through a 20-minute presentation on what is happening now in Guatemala and his and his organization's involvement there. And then we'll turn it over to two short presentations from Catherine Coumans and Catherine Duhamel, and then we'll open it up for a general Q&A discussion as a group. We have about 2 hours in this room. Okay, thanks very much for all being here. We didn't expect so many people. It was Thanksgiving weekend. It's supposed to be 5 or 6 folk.
Gracias, muy buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon to everybody.
Imagínense que en 20 minutos
In 20 minutes,
tengo que hablar de los últimos 23 años de mi vida.
I have to talk about the last 23 years of my life.
23 años trabajando en el tema de derechos humanos y ambiente.
23 years working in the field of human rights and the environment.
Y 9 años trabajando en el tema de minería y desarrollo sostenible en Guatemala.
And 9 years working in mining and sustainable development in Guatemala.
Seguramente voy a cometer más errores,
I'm probably going to make some mistakes,
pero vamos a tratar 3 temas puntuales.
but I'm going to try to speak about 3 particular topics.
Y el trabajo en derechos humanos y ambiente no es un trabajo fácil.
The work in human rights and environment is not a simple one.
No es un trabajo que significa solo interpretar categorías de derechos.
We may think that human rights is just about, the work is just about interpreting certain categories of work.
Eso puede quedar para la academia y el estudio en el laboratorio o en escritorio.
That may be valid for work in university or at a desk.
En nuestros países la exigibilidad de los derechos humanos se vive.
In our countries, the question of human rights is something that you live.
Mujeres que trabajan por mayores espacios de participación.
Women that work for a larger place in their workspace.
O indígenas que reclaman su derecho al territorio.
Indigenous people that demand access to their land.
O trabajadores que requieren un mejor salario.
Workers that want a better salary.
Y también habemos ambientalistas que reclamamos un ambiente sano.
And there are environmentalists that are demanding a healthy environment.
Cometemos un error cuando categorizamos los derechos humanos.
We make a mistake when we categorize human rights.
Y les damos categorías o generaciones.
And we give them categories and generations.
Alguien puede pensar que la libertad, la educación o la salud son importantes.
Some people may think that freedom and health and education are important topics.
Pero ¿qué pasa si el ambiente donde se desarrolla el ejercicio de la libertad no existe o no es de buena calidad?
But what happens when access to a healthy environment isn't there and there isn't the freedom to develop it?
Tenemos una declaración de los derechos del niño.
We have a declaration on the rights of children.
Y los estados tienen que cumplir con esos derechos.
And the states, the governments have to comply with those directives.
Pero en muchos países aún los niños mueren por una diarrea.
And yet in many countries children are dying of diarrhea.
Y esa diarrea proviene de que el agua no está sanitariamente consumible.
And the diarrhea comes from the fact that the water isn't adequate for drinking.
Igual los trabajadores en sus aspectos de ambiente de trabajo.
In the same way that the workers in various aspects of their working conditions.
O los ciudadanos en zonas de influencia de proyectos industriales.
Or citizens in areas where they're developing industrial projects.
Son afectados por la calidad del aire, el agua, el suelo.
They're affected by problems with the quality of the air, the soil, the water.
Cuando nosotros entendemos los derechos a un ambiente sano,
when we talk about the right to a healthy environment,
tenemos que entender que el ambiente natural es vital.
We have to understand that the natural environment is something that is vital, living.
Para la vida individual y para la vida social.
For an individual, but also for society.
Entonces existen derechos naturales vitales.
And so there are vital natural rights.
Y si ese derecho natural vital se correlaciona,
and that natural vital right has relationships
con lo transitorio que es el individuo en la sociedad.
It's related to the temporary presence of individuals in society.
Apenas 70, 80, 90 años de vida.
Maybe 70, 80 years of life.
La historia natural del planeta significa 400 millones de años.
And yet the story of the planet is 4.5 billion years.
Nuestra huella de carbono no es nada.
Our carbon footprint is quite small.
En comparación con esa historia del planeta.
In comparison with the history of the planet.
Pero esa huella de 100 años a lo sumo.
But that imprint over a short period of time
impacta negativamente
has a negative impact
en el entorno natural social.
In the social environment.
Y algunas de esas actividades, como las actividades extractivas.
And some of the activities that we engage in, like the extractive industry,
petróleo, gas, minerales, metales,
petroleum and gas and other natural resources,
contribuyen severamente a deteriorar ese ambiente que es vital.
They really contribute seriously to the deterioration of that vital environment.
Y aquí encontramos el primer dilema entre economía y desarrollo.
And here we have the first difficulty or tension between environment and development.
Toda decisión económica,
every economic decision,
una inversión para la construcción de un puerto,
any, for example, investment for the development of a port,
o para el desarrollo de una inmobiliaria,
for the development of buildings,
cualquier actividad económica,
any economic activity,
provoca un impacto ambiental,
provokes an environmental impact.
Y ese impacto ambiental,
and that environmental impact,
que puede ser la pérdida de bosque,
which could be the loss of forest,
la transformación del paisaje,
the transformation of the landscape,
la movilización de suelos,
the movement of soil,
la contaminación del agua, del aire,
contamination of the oil, of the air, of water.
Ese impacto ambiental,
that environmental impact,
genera una protesta social.
generates social